So we're down to one last pitch, and that's the final one, which is designed for a more general audience and particularly focused on youth, given that we have two elections coming up here in Ontario, the June 2nd provincial election, and our local MPP, David Pagini, happens to be the Minister of the Environment. And down the road from Cobourg in Belleville is Minister of Energy, Minister Smith, who also announced the green button standard that utilities will be mandated to implement by November 1st of this year. So a lot of things are happening, and it's great to connect it to the political decision makers. But before we ask them about what we think would benefit our communities, we need to understand the regulatory framework that guides the way in which we bring together our natural and our built infrastructure and manage it for the well-being of our communities and for all those who are living in that particular shared space. And that's a great quote that you provided from Adam Schultz. It's a great sort of sets the scene. Mike, thanks very much. So briefly, what we want to do here builds on Sustainable Cobourg's collaborative research projects with Trent University. And Trent University is noted for its particular style of teaching and learning through tutorials and hands-on experiential learning. They have a wonderful center of Indigenous studies. And actually the Indigenous studies students and the professors work very closely with Rick Beaver and the Black Oak Savannah in terms of looking at how to manage and restore and protect those threatened ecological systems, which are key to the survival of a healthy planet for healthy humans. So what we did in our last session, we had our last project with Trent. It was a student in her 5th year. She was a 22-year-old. Her name was Heidi Sitke. And Heidi and I worked very closely on looking at natural assets through the lens of this regulatory framework called Ontario Reg 58817. Now, most municipalities are doing this for their built infrastructure, but they haven't really figured out how to do this for their natural assets. However, Heidi was able to interview other municipalities that have started down this road. So for example, small little Gibsons, BC, the place where beachcombers came from, if you recall, I'm aging myself here. And in Gibsons, BC, they haven't hired new staff, but what they've done is they've retrained their staff to take on new roles based on the need to adapt to climate change. So the GIS coordinator there, Michelle, is now, her title has been changed to Natural Asset Technician. And Heidi interviewed both the CAO and Michelle about their role and about their journey from looking at just asset management through built infrastructure to asset management with the interaction between built and natural assets. It's a great story. It's a great story because it's a small municipality of 5,000 on the coast of BC, and they've been doing an amazing job in terms of turning that the whole space that they are responsible for managing into a living lab. And we want to replicate that here in Cobourg and with other municipalities that we partner with in Ontario and around the world. So what we're doing with this challenge is we're asking students to do what Heidi did, which was to dig in and unpack what this looks like at the local level, and then do a deputation to the town council. So this would be using a tool that all students have access to through Esri's ArcGIS Online. It's free, and they can create a story map. And the story map is a way in which to do the analysis first with tools like Scribble, and even with point cloud tools like the ones that we learned about in the workshop with the Making Nature Matter. So we'll build on all those resources and help students to link this to their pathways. And Lakefront Utility has a wonderful opportunity for these students that commit to go on to a post-secondary certificate, which would linked to the need that Lakefront Utility has in transitioning to this new digital economy. And they will provide a scholarship plus summer jobs for students to come back and apply those skills just like Heidi did. And we're looking forward to that and building that into the education career life pathways, not just for youth, but also for new Canadians coming to Canada. We want to attract them to our region here in Northumberland County and make this into a living lab. So that's what this challenge is. And they would then be doing pitches, and they would also be looking at challenging the candidates in the upcoming elections, June, and in the municipal elections in October, to make sure that the decision makers that we put in office have done their homework and know how they're going to benefit their communities with this open data and also benefit nature. We want to code with nature. Future generations are counting on it.